You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Shawn Wilkie, and along with my awesome co-host, we interview the innovators in this space every week. Ivan, kick us off.
Hi, I'm Ivan Zach. I'm excited to introduce Chan Namgong. He's coming from the company Oncotect. Chan is a visionary entrepreneur and leader. Chan is the CEO and founder of Oncotect, pioneering the most accessible, convenient, and affordable cancer screening test for dogs. As the co-founder and advisor at Home Cloud, Chan brings innovation to residential property management technology. With a rich background as the former CEO and founder of Bevelo and the former COO at Johnson Automotive, Chan has left an undeniable mark on the realms of fashion retail and automotive operations, showcasing a dynamic journey through diverse industries. Chan, welcome to the show. Thank you for finding the time. What an entrepreneurial journey. So you were executive in 1, 2, 3 companies?
Yes. Well, thanks for having me, first of all. I have a very interesting background as an entrepreneur and in diverse industries. And that's almost as a reason because I'm interested in finding solutions for different industries. And as a coming in from fresh perspective, I believe that I can bring things that, maybe insiders don't normally see, and I believe innovation happens when you synthesize different ideas from different industries. So, that's what I've done in my previous businesses and startups.
That's amazing because I have a completely different experience with Shawn. He's not from veterinary industry and see what he's doing. But I'm just kidding. He's doing great, and his product is amazing. Shawn, I love you. So
you got to put more feeling in that because it wasn't actually believable. And it's the holidays, it's Christmas. Like, come on now.
That's the best I can do. All right, back to this.
Thanks for trying at least.
Hopefully, our producers can make that into more believable voice. So, tell us, how did you end up in the veterinary industry? I mean, automotive. Like it's just very interesting. How do you end up, and for what I assume is pretty difficult innovation, you're going to tell us all about it, but how do you end up in the veterinary domain?
Yeah. So by accident, really, my mom had breast cancer about 6 or 7 years ago. She's cancer-free now. But during that time, I had a chance to read a lot of cancer-related journal articles and, research papers and found out that while there are many solutions, cancer screening solutions in human medicine, back in 2019, there wasn't any for companion animals in veterinary medicine space. And I really thought that was really odd and kind of absurd too. Not knowing anything about, veterinary medicine or not as a scientist, I still wanted to find a solution for it. And that's how I got into veterinary science, veterinary medicine.
Yeah, fascinating. So, very deeply personal story. I'm a little bit more interested in your background as an innovator and as an entrepreneur across other fields. So, let's talk about some of the problems you've solved before, and then let's talk about what's unique or novel about the way that you're trying to solve this problem in veterinary medicine.
Sure. Well, in retail, I started right out of college. I started my first business when I was 24. And it was back then, I wanted to start a fashion company that was very affordable, but still contemporary. But also I wanted to start a company that's really primarily focusing on e-commerce. And this is back in 2008, 2009, when e-commerce is still very nascent. Ended up opening, up to 40 stores across the country in the United States. Also, a new business that I started with my co-founder, Home Cloud. It's really one of a kind digital inspection company where we gather home data in the cloud, where you don't have to. Let's say a lot of homes are older homes, and it's not you're not the first owner of the house, and many history of the home maintenance is lost. So we try to digitize your home data in the cloud, so they can pass it on to next homeowners. And for this, veterinary company, Oncotect, I wanted to find a solution that was really easy, but also it can be not only done in the clinic, but at home as well. because, during pandemic, we've all seen that, the home testing market has totally exploded, and people are more comfortable and have become more really confident in collecting a specimen or doing, testing at home. And cancer is there's a lot of stigma in cancer, but at the same time, cancer is the leading cause of death in dogs. And many people have just terrible experience of losing a dog to cancer, previously, and they don't want to repeat that terrible experience. And by, getting ahead and being more proactive and preventative, you can, get more time for effective treatments or to get peace of mind that your dog is safe and healthy.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So you had this deeply personal experience with your mother. You guys got on the other side of it. She's cancer-free. And then you thought to yourself, I'm going to build a test for canines. And so tell us a little bit more about the journey. So you had the idea, sure. You're not a scientist. So how'd you get here?
Yeah. So, I found a research paper where a group of scientists have discovered that these small little nematodes called C. elegans can detect cancer in human medicine. And I thought that was just sounded too good to be true. But I wanted to find out if it was true. So I talked to a local veterinarian who was very willing to help. So I got some urine samples, cancer and non-cancer, found a bioscience company in Oregon that can run proof of concept, and came back with some promising data. And at that point, I had to make a decision whether this is something that I want to go all in or not, right? And with my, obviously lack of experience in science or, veterinary medicine, but they really didn't, stop me or, hold me back, because I'm not afraid of, learning new things and putting myself into, spending many hours reading and learning. And I believe that there's so much material on the internet that you can really, learn anything if you put your mind to it. So at that point, as a, falsely optimistic and biased entrepreneur, I was like, oh, F it, I'm going to go all in. So that's how I started the business. And then I hired and then recruited a PhD scientist who actually got his PhD from by studying C. elegans on microfluidics. And then we, found a wet lab space at NC State, and off we went.
That's a pretty crazy story. What is
No, it's a totally crazy story. I like it.
What is your background school-wise? Did you?
Yeah, I got my undergrad business degree from Carolina, University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill.
That's fascinating. And I don't say that word as often as Shawn does. So,
but you've learned it from me, so it's all good.
About 6 times per episode. But but that's amazing. I'm really, really impressive that you have this background in very sort of general kind of business area, but then you apply it. Anyway, it's really, really cool. Let's turn to the product itself and talk about what is it, how does this work, and how can people get their hands on it?
Sure, absolutely. So this is a early cancer screening test only for dogs right now, but we do have plans to develop a test for cats next year. This is a at-home cancer screening test. So it's not a point of care cancer screening. Like you actually have to collect, small amount of urine, 1 to 2 milliliter of urine at home at the clinic. Our test is available online, so it's a direct to consumer, but we do a lot more business with veterinarians. So we are not trying to circumvent, veterinarian channel. We're actually working with a lot of veterinarians and veterinary hospitals, because our goal at the end of the day is to bring, patients' dogs back to the hospital, to clinics for additional services, for their consultation or for their diagnostic tests. We have hospitals across the country, and we are adding a lot of hospitals every week now, because our kit, at-home testing kit, is really has made our process so much simpler and easier to collect urine. And also our goal is to keep veterinarians throughout the entire process, keeping veterinarians informed and involved throughout the whole process. So, we once the report is ready, we share with veterinarians as well as clients. Sometimes when we do get, moderate or high risk report, we actually take initiatives to call, one of our vet techs will actually call the hospital first and give them a heads up, because we don't want to panic or traumatize, clients, when they just get an email saying like, oh, your dog has moderate high risk of cancer. We don't want them to go down on a Google rabbit hole. So we want to make sure that they have someone to talk to, but also we'll recommend them to follow up with their own veterinarian for the consultation or diagnostic tests. We pride ourselves as, like you mentioned, with the most convenient, accessible, and affordable cancer screening tests in the market. And we are the only one that I know of that pet parents can buy directly from online.
So can you elaborate on the types of cancer? What is the you said that it's tested on urine. What are we looking for? Is it any cancer? Is there some oncomarkers that you find? Like, how does that work? Because most of our audience are veterinarians, so they're gonna really interrogate this episode quickly.
Sure. So there's a consistent cancerous metabolites that exists across cancer types. And we primarily focused on four most common canine cancers: the lymphoma, melanoma, hemangiosarcoma, and mast cell tumors. We do have plans to study other cancer types next year, such as TCC, bladder, prostate, soft tissue sarcoma. I mean, we've tested those cancers before, but the reason that we are not claiming that we can detect these additional cancer types is because we haven't run a large enough sample size to publish paper, but we do plans to do that next year.
So my question's maybe a silly one, but I'm completely confused on how you collect a urine sample from a dog. So, and you said that your process is unique. So I was curious if you could kind of maybe elaborate on that.
No, our process is not unique. Our goal is to make, collecting urine sample easier, right? So our kit has the tools that you need as a pet owner, right? If you're trying to just collect urine without any tools, it's difficult. But we provide pair of gloves, paper boats, pipette, preservative tubes that don't expire, biohazard bag that can put the sample back in. Every kit comes with prepaid return labels. So we made it easy for them to collect urine, and we've sent hundreds of these tests out to actual pet owners, and we maybe out of hundreds, we probably got 2 people email us that say they're having a hard time collecting urine. So it's actually not as difficult as people think it is. And going back to explaining science, the easiest way to explain our science is, you probably heard that dogs can detect human cancer in science. No. You never heard that? Oh, it's been proven, scientifically proven, that dogs can detect cancer in human medicine. And the reason they can do that is because cancer cells produce very particular smell that's different from normal cells, and dogs can tell the difference. And so we are using very similar science in that we are detecting these cancerous metabolites, VOCs, in dogs' urine, and we are quantifying the nematodes' behavior, migrant behavior, to determine whether there's low, moderate, high risk of cancer.
So you don't have dogs working in the company?
No. And the reason, and that's a good question. The reason that, although that's been scientifically proven that dogs can detect cancer in human medicine, the reason that it hasn't been commercialized because it's a scalability. It's very expensive, and you can get, first of all, it's very expensive to train dogs to do that task. And they're like humans too. They can only do so many. It's
unless you have a partnership with a puppy mill, then you can really,
oh my gosh,
they can really scale that.
It's just not a commercially scalable platform.
Yeah.
Whereas what we've developed is a commercially scalable platform where we can run many tests per day.
So you've said you have aspirations to do the same thing for feline pets as well, which is super cool. What's the vision for the company? Where does this all end up in a couple of years? Let's say 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. Our goal is really to make this test available to as many companion animals as possible, with dogs, cats, and the next, the natural progression would be horses, like equine. In the next 5 years, with these different, product lines, one for each companion animals, our goal is just really get the name out there and get the product awareness and education out. So people are, at a certain age, there's a lot of, humanization happening in pet care space. And in human medicine, at a certain age, we do cancer screening tests, not because we think that we're going to have cancer, or just we don't want to put ourselves behind the 8 ball. Like it's meant to be preventative, meant to be proactive. Like just like my mom. I mean, she did a mammogram and they didn't find it actually at first. They found it through X-rays of her kidney, and they just found a small mass, and they were able to find it early enough that they were able to remove it. She went through chemo, and she's fine. And just like, by the time your dog has cancer now, it's already too late. You can't do anything. But these cancers are actually treatable, through surgical removal or chemotherapy or medicine. So our goal is to, we have one bucket of, pet owners that want to have enough time for effective treatments. You have a second bucket of pet owners that just want to get peace of mind that their dog is healthy. And also you have a third bucket of pet owners that just want to know, and maybe they don't want to put their dogs through chemotherapy or any kind of cancer treatment, but they still want to provide better quality of life or to provide palatable care. So there's a lot of use cases for our tests, and our goal is to get these tests in the hands of as many veterinarians and pet owners so we can reduce the death rate by cancer in companion animals.
It's very interesting. I'm wondering who is from like marketing and go-to-market strategy, who's your target audience? You mentioned the 3 buckets of clients, but who are they? Like, is it someone who just has an older pet and you recommend doing it once a year or every half a year? Or is it someone who visited a vet and they have vague clinical signs and no answers on the blood work? And how do you market to them? Like, how do you actually go about marketing to the general public?
We are not really marketing to the general public right now. We are actually marketing to only veterinarians. Okay. Because they are great partners. And, again, we are adding a lot of veterinarians, maybe 4 or 5 veterinarians every week across the country. Our main target clients would be like people with senior dogs, right? 7 years and older, as an annual screening test, or high risk breeds, boxers, Goldens, Irish Wolfhounds, Mountain Bernies, and start those, breeds at younger age, 5 or 6. Or, any pet owners that just want to be more, proactive in their pet's health. And then last bucket is people just, so many people have lost their dog to cancer, and it was just such a, terrible experience. They don't want to repeat it. So they want to get peace of mind, and, they want to have enough time to either emotionally, mentally, or financially prepare for inevitable.
That's amazing. The whole conversation, the way you started the company, where you guys are at, where you're going, it's fascinating. And I mean, it's obviously a solution that the market wants and needs, because you're not the first company that we spoke to that's doing this. So congratulations on all your success so far. Really interested to kind of follow and watch your progress. We ran out of time. We do every single week. Like, we feel like there's, 20 minutes of conversation at least left to have. But we like to wrap up every episode the same way. So we've got a couple questions before we're going to let you go. First is a book, YouTube video, TED Talk, something that you found inspired you so far on your career path that you'd like to share with our audience.
Yeah. Recently I read Elon Musk's autobiography. I know he's a controversial figure, but I was just kind of totally blown away. His intensity, tenacity, his approach to finding a solution. And that was just really inspiring to me. As we are trying to innovate, he totally created a, EV market, and we are trying to create a cancer screening market. So there's a lot of, similarities that I learned and I was inspired by.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm interested in that. He's definitely an interesting fella. And I like that. I think it was Joe Rogan was talking to him about the amount of the ideas that he generates on a daily basis. And how cool is this? And it was awesome that he said, I don't know if you want to be in my head. It's very cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that I loved on his episode, he's like, did you ever design an airplane? He's like, yeah, I did that.
Well, the second question that we ask, is there an entrepreneur in our industry that you think would be good to invite to this podcast?
Absolutely. Dr. Matthew Glassman. He's a fellow CEO founder of a company called Dr. Cuddles. It's a D2C pet care company. He's done some very innovative products for pet care, and recently he launched a product that really has never existed before. So he's his good friend, very smart guy, surgeon, himself, veterinary surgeon himself, also just very good guy.
Thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.